in fashion and beauty, from transforming wardrobes and what not to wear to launching a global brand. She is a true beauty mogul, inspiring people everywhere.
And there's an awful lot of excitement that she's in the
There
studio
is.
here as well. Trinny Woodall, good morning to you.
Good morning. It's very nice to start my day here, I tell you.
It is. Well, listen, you look fantastic as well. We've been having a great chat in Dublin, loving life, enjoying being in Ireland.
Loving being in Ireland. I mean, I just finished watching House of Guinness 2 nights ago just to get me up on track. I mean, what a show. But I am loving it. And we were last here, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. And it's always joyful because the women are joyful. And it's all about the kind of audience you meet when you get here. And we meet lots of different people. We're doing like a walk and talk around a park for our community. We're doing Brown Thomas events. We're doing a squillion different things. And the Gloss, I'm doing a chat at the Gloss.
For people who are watching and seeing you waving their hands, they'll see this on your finger.
Yes.
I had to ask you, what is the ring?
This is something I was given for my 50th birthday by my oldest friend, and she makes rings, but it actually is a Trinny London pot, so anywhere I am, I can go and, like, just do up my makeup, you know.
Like, this is...
There you have it.
The
We all
woman
need one of those.
is always prepared. So we have to kind of go back to the start of the story, because often times people are put into boxes and that's the box they stay in for their life, and that is not you. So you start in fashion journalism, and then yourself and Susanna Constantine do What Not to Wear. I remembered that show so distinctly.
On your mother's lap.
Trying to put on my first bra and you all flinging women's backs going, you can't put on bras, lads.
Yes.
It made such a huge impact.
You can't put on bras that way. No, you can't.
But it was like we were all wearing them wrong, like everyone. It made such a huge impact.
It was very different for its time. It's a show we couldn't do now.
No.
But it is a show that I love doing, and it taught me a lot, because we did that show for about 7 or 8 years in the UK on BBC and then ITV. And then, you know, when you stop being Flavour of the Month, so we were then not Flavour of the Month, but then we were asked to do it. There's a TV conference called MIPCOM in Cannes, and 16 countries said, will you go and do it? So we did it in Poland, Israel, India, Scandinavia, America, Australia. And during that time is when I got the idea for Triny London, because wherever I was, women, whatever their height, size, skin tone, religion, it didn't matter. We go through these phases where we feel a marginal level of different sense of ourself. You know, we need a little shift. We need a little help of somebody to say, OK, who do you want to be now? And let's help you get there. And that's what we are. And I found that when we did the makeover shows, the first thing women could see, because we all have a relationship which can be complicated with our body. And with our hair, we're very protective. But we're happy to say, OK, what are you going to do with my face, makeup-wise? So it was like the in to get somebody to change on the inside. And so I saw the power of really just letting somebody see the best, most polished version of themselves, and then from that you help them move forward emotionally. You know, it could be the mum who has had kids and then suddenly thinks, who am I now? Because I'm no longer that millennial who put myself first. I have a flat, or I've got my first mortgage, I'm married. It could be a woman who's thinking, I want to leave him. You know, I've had enough. It could be a woman who's perimenopausal or going into menopause. But there are definitely these times when we think, I just need to think, what am I now? Who am I now? And that's where we are. That's where we come in.
When you said there that you couldn't do that show now, do you think we miss out on having real talk sometimes, that maybe some of the topics you discuss on it probably wouldn't be appropriate, but
I think
that's what made great
by
TV.
Which we made it a watchable TV programme you couldn't do now, like stripping somebody down in a front of a mirror. We were stripped down with them, but that kind of stuff. But I definitely think what you can do now, and what I do love about social media, which I started on before I started Trinny London, is talking candidly with women. And I think we can scroll on our phones and see lots of what appear to be really perfect lives. And I think the more we can be candid and say, today I woke up and I'm having a really dire day, you know, and life is not great, and being candid. And I think that's what Susanna and I always used to do, because we'd say what we love and what we really dislike. And I think that's what, as a brand, we do at Trinny London, because we don't touch up women when we've done their photograph. We don't touch up photographs. We use mainly real women. We don't try and say, look at this idealised form of beauty, because it's so, to some women, it's first of all so inaccessible, and to other women, they think, do I want to be that? Do we live in a time today where you want to be a movie star, or do you want to be the best version of yourself?
There's an awful lot that you say when it comes to your brand, because as you said, on social media is where, like, I just find myself watching the videos and how you interact.
Scrolling your life away.
Scrolling your life away, but very enjoyably.
Yes, I agree with you.
Because when I first saw you a few years ago, first of all, it was like, is she going to topple off the stairs at the top? Like, people are obsessed, going, Trinny, you're going to fall off the stairs because you're putting your clothes on and all this. But the way you make it is about a feeling.
Yes.
And you did this thing where next thing, you know, it'd be like, I don't know, like a H&M top, and then you'd be wearing something Prada or whatever. And you kind of made it accessible to be looking at someone who is high fashion, but was like, lads, it's not all about labels.
Yeah, it's not about labels, that thing. It's about what makes you feel good, you know.
And that very quickly moved, because when it comes to a beauty brand, everyone thinks that it is about this shallowness and how we are on the outside. But for you, every time I've kind of heard you talk about Trinny London, you talk about feelings.
I do talk about feelings, because also I always wanted to do skincare, because from 13 to 30, I had really bad acne. And it gave me a very lack of confidence. I would always think if I went on a date, I'd be in a dark restaurant. And we try and solve problems for people who have issues around their skin. So in Ireland, 60% of women have some kind of redness in their skin, which can take away their confidence. You know, if you feel you have to put lots of makeup on or lots of fake tan on, lots of something on, because underneath you're always trying to cover up. I actually want to start with the root cause. So we have our own lab, we develop from scratch, we have innovative formulas. I just did something now called Naked Ambition. I love naming products. But I have this ambition that could we get every woman to a place where she wouldn't feel she would have to wear so much foundation if she feels the need to? And that's things like redness in the skin, uneven skin, pigmentation. So we made something which would deal with all of them, so that you can think, my skin feels so good, I don't need to wear so much. And then I'm more me, you know, I'm more out there as I am. So we don't have to smother. We can wear what we like to feel joyful, go to a party, whatever, but we don't feel the need that. I think this is the big thing. You can get home at night as a woman, you take off your makeup and you go, oh, hello. And I want you to take off your makeup and go, hi, you know, and not see this huge sort of difference. So that's why we are passionate about.
That's what Tommy does every day.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Hi, well, hello. You probably go, hello.
Tell us about, like, when Muireann said at the start, a lot of people are boxed off, and you've gone from the likes of television and clothes and fashion into this new genre as well. And you had horrible loss with your husband, and you wanted to be an inspiration to your young daughter and show the empowerment. And that's a big message you've had right through your career. You were speaking before, we were just saying there, in Ireland, the amount of people that travel just to see you and talk about the inspiration that you give to them. How do you find that brings pressure on in having so many people wanting a piece of you in so many different areas?
It feeds me. It really feeds me, because I think I have been through difficult things, and I had to make some tough decisions at ages when most people might be thinking, have I paid off the mortgage? And mine was sort of 51, and my daughter lost her dad, and I had to sell my house to start the business. And it's the kind of thing that's the opposite of what you might be doing in your 50s. And I think there's times in our life where we can make our life feel so small that we're scared to take risks. And I do feel that sometimes in life you've got to think, what is the worst thing that could happen, you know? And could I take this risk? And it was the best risk I ever took. But at the time I had a lot of friends, I remember at Johnny's funeral saying, look, Trinny, maybe you should just get a job. This is too risky. You have your daughter, she's 11. Should you be doing this right now? And I kind of weighed up between that sense we have as a parent of we must protect and give our child their best life, versus I've got to be a person I can be most proud of, so that I will instill in my daughter some senses of where she should head. And it's sort of weighing those two up. But it did make me think, I've got to do it. And it's not easy. To make a decision to be an entrepreneur is not easy, because you sleep and breathe it all the time. And you are responsible. You know, now we are 300 people in our business. I'm responsible for those 300 people, for their livelihoods, their mortgages, their lives, their future, their career. It's a big responsibility to grow up into being a CEO, as well as the face of the brand, and, you know, trying to develop really good products. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm 61, going to be 62 in February. I would not have it any other way.
Did you want to have a party going, should you be doing this, Trinny, and just a big party 10 years later going, yes, I should have done it. Thanks, it's going really well.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because you do, because when you would have been in traditional media back in the day, you know, there were columns written about you. You could handle it.
Yeah.
Now, it's whether people love you or hate you. It's thrown at you on social media. And it's there. Do you see that, or do you like...
What's very interesting is that none of us in this room would think, let me just say, by the way, you look like shite today, and I don't know why you're trying to do that. I'd never say that to your face, and I'd probably not say that to somebody else about you. And on social, people can and will. So I have a community on Trinny London, Trinny Woodall, where they're generally incredibly nice women. They empower each other, you know, especially on Facebook. They all might be posting for the first time a picture of themselves, like the Irish tribe, you know, having the confidence to say, this is me. And all the women are saying, you look amazing, giving them... I mean, like, the best part of social. And then very occasionally I might have a sort of, I don't know why you're doing skincare because you don't know how to do it. And I actually responded a couple of weeks ago because the biggest insult to me was to my team. And I said, you know what? You might think that about me, but I have a business with, you know, 38 people in new product development. That is a huge insult to their career, that you say that, and that you think that this is like some, you know, celebrity doing a skincare brand when we put so much work into it. So I actually used to ignore everything, and now sometimes I say something and I feel really good to say it, because if I was in a room with somebody and they said something, I'd say, excuse me, actually, I disagree with you, and this is why.
Well, Elon Musk is a mechanic. Do you know what I mean? It's so interesting what's thrown at women when it comes to stuff like that.
Elon Musk is a mechanic. That was like so left of field.
He's not like, you know, it's the same. It's whatever. He's not a mechanic. He's got cars. Naked Ambition, you've got a new vitamin C serum. That's what you're doing. But you're here as well. You're going to a gala.
We're going to the Gloss, which is that lovely glossy part of the Irish Times. But they do this gala every year, which I love. And it's about 1,200 career women, all different stages of their career. And there's two of us talking. And I love it because I love meeting women either at the beginning of their journey, in a career where they need to be able to ask for the right of their value. And there is a lot of stuff in England and in Ireland that any female entrepreneur, 2% of her invested in, 98% investment goes to men.
Wow.
So it's the worst gender inequality apart from the priesthood.
Right.
Yeah, it really is. So any event like that where it celebrates women having a career, working hard, having financial independence, it's a big deal in Ireland, financial independence as a woman.
Absolutely.
And just promoting that, I'm very excited to be talking to those ladies as well.
Well, it's going to be a hell of an evening, no doubt about that. It always is at the Goss. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Success too as well. Great inspiration.
Cheers, Trinny Woodall. Thank you so much.
Right, time to get the news. Let's go.